I am optimistic, positive, and excited about chiropractic, reaching people with my practice and building an exceptional life of productivity, prosperity, and generosity while filled with love, fitness, and fun. My purpose is to become a smarter, more powerful, capable, driven, and superior version of myself by ever increasing my awareness, knowledge, understanding, motivation, hands-on skill, communication skill, and mastery in the art of exceptional living. Every single podcast with me does 4 things. Causes you to naturally attract more new, great patients. Makes you more capable at motivating and persuading people. Empowers you to make smarter long-term decisions, and energizes you physically, mentally, and financially. You might notice something you've never seen before in any podcast, videos, or training you've ever done. And it's one of countless things that makes us unique here. It's one of countless things that causes our people to become ultra successful. You notice how we do the affirmation and the purpose at the beginning of every single podcast without fail? Have you ever seen anybody else do such a thing? There are smarter ways to do things. And the smarter way is a way of repetition and consistency to program you to a new level, whether you realize it or not. Somebody joins Winner's Edge, you're going to become more successful whether you like it or not, because there's this repetition and consistency built in that is going to change you. You cannot put your hand in a pot of glue and not have some of it stick. I know what I'm doing. And I know by repeating those words, they will start to root into your subconscious mind and change you for the better. So impact is the name of the game. A couple points I want to make here. Things I see that you don't ever want to do. First thing is this. We're going to get into the topic. It's going to be a great topic today. What is the single best investment right now for the chiropractor? You might want to stay tuned. You might want to tell all of your chiropractor friends to tune in. But first, here's something you never do. You never have the DR and the DC with your name at the same time. It's never okay, I'll put it this way. It's never Dr. Johnny Awesome DC. It's either Dr. Johnny Awesome Chiropractor or Johnny Awesome DC. Chiropractors want to feel smart for some reason, and they want to get the DR there so they can somehow feel cool. Forget all that nonsense. Nobody cares. It's either the DR or the DC. They never go with your name at the same time. Ever on a signature, at the bottom of your email, on any formal letter that you send to any attorney, anywhere, it's never the DR and the DC. It's one or the other. And if you use the DR, it must be indicated that you're a chiropractor. Next thing that we see, it's hilarious. You look at a website or somewhere, and the chiropractor wants to call themselves a CEO. Like they're the CEO of their small practice. Is that not hilarious? You see some lady trying to be awesome, working out of her house, calls her thing and entitles herself the CEO or the founder or the owner. Nobody cares. It's all just self-appointed importance for no reason. It's better to just actually be important instead of try to use terms to make yourself look important. It's better to be minimal with these things. Tory Robson, DC. That's it. I don't need to say I'm the CEO or the founder or the owner or put the DR in front of my name. None of it. I want to walk quietly and carry a cannon. Okay? I had a UFC fighter friend come up to Minneapolis for some chiropractic work and to go fishing. While I was practicing that morning, he went to the highest level mixed martial arts training center in this part of the country. He did some jiu-jitsu with the guy there. Came back, said he thoroughly enjoyed it, and I said, well, that gentleman, he owns the place. And he's the first black belt that was given by a high-level jiu-jitsu legend named Pedro Sauer, who was one of the only people to get a black belt from Elio Gracie, who wasn't a Gracie. And my fighter friend said to me, he goes, wow, he didn't tell me any of that. I like him even more now. Get the point? Just be cool. Now, let's talk about this investment stuff. What is the single best investment you can make? You have available time. You have available money. What is the single best place for you to position your money that will bring you the biggest return with the lowest risk? What is it? There is one single thing without any question is the best. Now, even though my college degree is in business from Montana State University, and I have decades of time owning multiple offices as a chiropractic business owner, even though I have personally owned residential and commercial real estate as a landlord and as a tenant, even though I've consulted, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of chiropractors all over the world, I will have a disclaimer. I'm not giving financial advice. I'm here to entertain and educate. You are 100% responsible for every dollar that leaves your hands. You are 100% responsible for all of your money decisions. If you make money, it's your fault. If you lose money, it's your fault. Same for me, same for everybody. There's a disclaimer. Now, back to the task at hand. What is the single biggest investment, the single best investment, the single highest returning investment, the single smartest investment? And by the way, this is the investment that the fewest chiropractors do. It's mystifying. Without any question, this is the killer. Yet, simultaneously, hardly any chiropractors take advantage of it. What is that investment? The investment is in yourself. Now, I'm going to go over some other investments here in a second. And I've kind of set you up with a little bit of a trick answer here, but it is the best. Like we learned from Warren Buffett, the more you learn, the more you will earn. Well, where do you learn how to become more successful and profitable as a chiropractor? Where do you learn that? Where is the best place that you have available to learn how to be more efficient, grow volume, grow your collection per visit, lower your overhead, increase your profit, have all of your taxes engineered down to a science, all of your money flow? Where is the best single place in the world today for you to learn how to be truly more successful as a chiropractor and as a business person and financially? Where is that? Winner's Edge Consulting. I challenge anybody to make us aware of a person or a place where you can learn more thoroughly and more readily than what you can learn here. 4 books, 8 booklets, over 1,000 videos, live events, Zoom events, audio sets, podcast, YouTube channel, dedicated chiropractor training center. What more could be done? So I'm going to encourage you before we move on. Encourage you before we move on. The single best thing you can do if you want to make more money is buy knowledge. Pay for the information. Pay for our success delivery system. The return is like 10,000%. All right, enough on that. There's the pitch. Now we're going to get into the key points of this topic. But I'm telling you, it's so hilarious, chiropractors. They think they're saving money by not learning how to make more money. Biggest frustration in chiropractic for me is the lack of intelligence and drive as a whole within the profession. I want chiropractors to be part of the solution by ever learning, becoming more successful, more capable, having more influence, more generosity. And that must be learned, which means you must pay somebody to teach it to you. And if you are not right now paying somebody to teach it to you, then you really are not learning anything. And I will say, no matter how good podcasts and some free things are, remember now here at Winner's Edge, all the cool stuff we don't talk about on a podcast. Okay? You got to be in the club to get the real secrets, and believe me, we have them. Okay, topic at hand. What are the best investments for the chiropractor? What are the best investments for the chiropractor? Is it buying rental properties? What cost does that have in time and effort and stress? Is it lending money to a family member or a friend for their business that's supposedly going to make you money back? Is that the best investment available to you? Are tax-free municipal bonds the best investment? Is a high cash value whole life insurance policy, is that the best investment option that you have? Is the best thing to do to pay off all of your debt, every single penny, before you even start saving? Is that the best approach? Should small business owners listen to and follow Dave Ramsey's teaching? And I like Dave Ramsey, his principles, and he's coming from the right intention for people. He gets under fire because he's popular, but he's intending good things for all of us. But is his approach ideal for the small business owner chiropractor? What does he say is the best investment? Do you know? What does he actually say you should put your money in as an investment? Of the available choices that you have with your after-tax money, what really is the single best investment that gives you the greatest chance with the lowest risk of doing incredibly well financially over time? Consider, how does the investment create cash flow? If you put money in a mutual fund, does that create monthly or quarterly cash flow? It may, a little. If you put money into a rental property, will that create monthly cash flow? It may. Some do, some don't. Some do for a while, then you have a bunch of expenses that ruin it. If you buy tax-free municipal bonds, do they create cash flow? The answer is yes. They pay a stated return for a period of time. So they create cash flow. Does the high cash value whole life insurance policy, using our very, very specific criteria, of which highly likely that none of you know what this is? Some of you will have whole life or universal variable life, but really it will be structured incorrectly. It'll be structured in a way that benefits them more than it benefits you. Never have I seen a chiropractor have the correct type of policy, because you can't find anybody to write it except for a few people in the country, because it's a low commission item. But back to the task at hand. Does it create cash flow? Yes. You get interest dropped into your balance once a year. Bonds pay interest commonly twice a year. The life insurance policy pays its money once a year. So how does it create cash flow? That's the first question that has to be asked, and it is critical. What we learned from the great Charlie Munger: if there is no cash flow, just say no. Next, does it grow and beat inflation? If I have bonds that pay 4%, a flat 4% on a certain dollar amount, it's only going to take a few years before inflation gets ahead of me. Because I'm getting a fixed 4%. The amount of return I'm getting stays the same. Is it possible to have an investment that creates a return that actually grows? Instead of 4% fixed, can it actually grow? Can it create cash flow? But can it create cash flow that actually increases, it actually grows? Next point, can the investment create a capital gain? The bonds create cash flow, but at the end, you get your same money back. The actual money you put in did not grow. You just got interest on your money for a specified period of time. You didn't get the interest and capital appreciation. The life insurance policy gives you a stated return. The return really doesn't grow, and you really don't get much of a gain in addition, if any. A mutual fund can pay a little cash flow, and it can grow over time. That is the goal, if you can be lucky and pick the right ones. So the single best investment is one that creates a cash flow that grows. In fact, and listen carefully because you won't believe this, is it possible to have an investment where the value goes down, but you get paid more? And the answer is yes. Is it possible to have an investment where the value goes down, you get paid more? What you get paid for cash flow increases, and there can be a capital gain. So your $10,000 can turn into $20,000 while at the same time it paid you cash flow that increased even if the investment components went down. Next. Down the road, if you have money invested and you exit chiropractic and you retire, how do you get the money to live? Do you have to sell little bits of your investment? It has been taught that you sell 4% of your investment every year to live on. People like Dave Ramsey like more like 8%, I believe. Is it possible to have something that you do not have to sell to then live on? Because once you sell it, it loses its interest earning power. And your income and your future is eroded with every withdrawal you make. Is it possible to have your money positioned in something that will pay you enough that you don't have to actually start eating the principal itself? The answer is yes. There is an investment where you can position money and it will create a growing cash flow. And it can have a capital gain. And it can grow faster than inflation. So in your retirement years, you actually get an income increase every year. A couple more points. How does the investment compound? If you buy bonds, they pay interest, but that interest just goes and sits in your account. Zero compounding, unless you save more money and wait and have the time lag to position it into another bond. It's not automatic. It requires manual work. Can you have an investment that automatically reinvests the cash flow? How does an investment compound? If you own rental properties, does that money or does that investment compound? Why does the great Warren Buffett not own any rental real estate? The greatest investor in the history of the United States. Why does he not do that? Because the money involved does not compound. It grows linearly. In fact, the value of the home can go up and down and up and down and up and down, down, down. There is zero compounding 2 to 4 to 8 to 16 to 32 to 64. It may grow linearly, but it will not compound. And the cash flow from the property, how does that get automatically reinvested? It doesn't. People spend the money. Or they build up and they try to buy another one. Do you realize if you owned a house, there was a rental property worth $400,000, and let's say you get $2,500 a month rent, and the expenses are $500, so you get $2,000 a month every month as long as there's a tenant in there. See, Warren Buffett would look at this and go, I'm only getting $2,000 a month from my $400,000 that's locked up in the house. And it's going to need a furnace and a driveway and a deck and these other problems that are going to eat up my $2,000 monthly surplus. And the value of this house may go up and it may go down. He's going to take that money and he's going to position it somewhere where it auto reinvests and it auto compounds. And he will turn the 400 into 1.6 million. Whereas down the road, the house will only be worth 800. Compounding is the secret. Where can you get money positioned where it will automatically compound? It is the compounding you're after. Warren Buffett earned over $6 billion last year just on the cash flow from his investments because of the compounding effect of where he has positioned money. Now, this is the letdown. And I know you don't like this because you love it when people just tell you everything. But I'm not going to tell you what this investment is. I'm not going to explain the details of how it works. And I'm not going to go over all of the details of the specific criteria and flow in how we use it to create what are going to be the wealthiest chiropractors who ever lived. There are certain things I have to keep for my clients only. The systems for my clients only, the procedures, the how it is done. This goes in here and you have that automation there and this goes to that. The exact names of the institutions, the exact names of the systems, the exact names of the criteria to look for. But simply know this. The name of the game is to earn money as a chiropractor, to auto-give to what matters to you, to have your taxes be perfectly current, and in our case, we want to have our taxes current to the week. Of course, the chiropractor should be getting paid weekly, going into the Winner's Edge money flow system. See, if you get paid weekly, then the speed of your money is twice as fast as someone who gets paid every 2 weeks. Money loves speed. Of course, then we're going to have the understanding of what is saving, what is investing, and what is speculating. And that's a topic for another day. And then within that system, where do we position money based on how much we have available? How do we allocate what's going to go toward debt? How we're going to save for a house? What's going to happen specifically with student loans? How do we handle the purchasing of cars? All of these things must be considered if you want to be wealthy. Do you want to be rich? I am shocked at how many times I meet chiropractors and never has anybody told them, and never did they think of it themselves, to set a goal to become a millionaire. But the reality today is the minimum for us is $2 million saved with a paid-for house. But that's a bare minimum. You'd be better off with $5 million. We will have many people in the group that have $20 to $100 million put away when they're in their 70s because of what I am vaguely describing to you right now. So the money flow system is the key. The automation is the key. The know-how in how to do it is the key. And so we go back really to the number one investment, and that's the investment in yourself, the actual instrument that is ideal for a person for the future is something we have to reserve for our clients. Is it crypto? No. Crypto is what we call the greater fool theory. You are hoping somebody buys it for more than you paid for it down the road. Although, as you might imagine, we have a crypto strategy that generates cash flow. In fact, I personally have a strategy that generates cash flow that I then turn and move into my other strategy. So I'm using one thing as a money-making machine to put it into my, quote, big money-making machine. It's so much fun. And I love teaching it. And we do that through our private Zooms with, of course, our direct clients. So I want to close this with just a couple main points. Number one, never use DR and DC on your name at the same time because it identifies you as someone who doesn't know what they're doing, and it identifies you as someone who's not professional. Never call yourself a CEO or a founder or an owner or let anybody in your household do such a thing because it's hilarious. It doesn't impress anybody, okay? And as it relates to investments, of course, the best investment you can make is paying money to learn how to do everything better. And then of the actual instruments for investments, there are several choices that the chiropractor has, but there is the one that is without any doubt the most solid, the most fun, the most understandable, the easiest to put in place, and the most reliable for generating incredible growing cash flow as well as capital gains that you can live on when you finally retire. Tory out!